Yo,
Yes.
where we at?
In the yard.
Ah,
We never left.
who's this?
It's Francois.
Saint Dior.
Let's get
All
it. Let's talk about a couple things.
right, all right. So,
Uh
what on your mind, man? What you been thinking about?
well, less thinking, more dealing. It's we gotta
Mm,
okay, so let me lay it out like this. I think we are two men who are amongst a lot of people who share different beliefs than we do.
mhm,
We live in a Christian country for the most part, beautiful Bahama land, but we are not Christian.
mm.
I wouldn't say that we are.
What do you mean by that when you say that?
We are not Christian?
Mhm.
Oh, we are atheists.
Okay.
Um, More extreme, I'd say in our younger years, but these days, I wouldn't, go back and forth with anybody over it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's not something that's on the forefront of my mind. But living in a country that we do, we often encounter a lot of people that are very strong with their beliefs or what they think that their beliefs is. And I'm not going to tell anybody what their beliefs are,
Yeah.
but a lot of the times, like it's like, do you even know what you are even referring to from your own like belief? Uh,
Mm.
so I'll give a little example from my end. Talking to ladies, one of the hurdles that you run into is like they ask an inevitable a question, which church do you go to? And that I get that question my whole life. I never
What
really
you
been.
so what you tell them?
I just tell them these days straight up. I flipping dirty. We ain't got no time to waste. I'd be like, yeah, I'm atheist. I
Okay.
don't I don't go to church. Now a lot of the time the conversation ends there. Sometimes it evolves. Sometimes, they're inquisitive and they're like, yeah, they don't feel it too much, but they're still willing to talk about it and ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Um, and some of my more recent encounters with this line of questioning has been like, I mean, let's analyze. Let's really
Let's
get
break it
into
down.
it. Yeah, let's really break it down because I've been told on more one occasion, like me trying to date a lady,
Mhm.
we would be unevenly yoked, or that's what they say,
Uneven. Yeah.
unevenly yoked.
Unevenly.
I guess the proper say would be unequally yoked, but yeah, unevenly yoked. And that is always like
Yeah.
it always caused me to think. Always caused me to think. It's like, do you really feel that way? I mean,
What are you basing that off of?
yeah. What are you basing it off of? Like, really? Because we don't get to these religious talks like months down the road. This is very initially in
Yeah.
the first month or two. So chances are we've only been able to maybe hang once, maybe twice, if at all.
Mm.
Um,
Surface level conversations on top of that.
right. Everything is very surface level. So I understand the fear that maybe like comes with that word atheist and stuff, but I feel as though for the most part we are very as a society, I think we need to get over this hurdle. I think a lot of people still have it in their head, like when you hear atheist, it's like Satan.
Satan or uh, demon worship,
Yeah,
like a demonic was a Satanist.
which is weird because atheism involves like we don't believe in any of that.
Mhm.
So that's very weird to hit us with that or to hit me with that.
Or even to be lumped in to be to say because you don't follow this particular path or my path, you are then susceptible to all evil and anything that's bad
Yeah,
because that's your belief system or because you're on that side.
yeah,
It's a either or type of thing that I feel like we've encountered a whole lot. They'd be like straight up, oh yeah, I'm just saying your work, and they'd be like, oh, because of this and you need that, and I'm like, yeah, like you said, in the past we used to kind of argue it, like, you know, I could, yeah. And I'm not the type of person that's going to be disingenuous and lead you on and be like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna be this way,
yeah.
knowing, of course, that's not sustainable. Eventually, it's gonna come out, and that goes to anybody out there that's trying to tread the line. Just be yourself. I think a lot of things would be a whole lot easier once people start being themselves. And back to the point where you were making, they don't even know their own religion because they're saying unevenly and it's unequally, and they don't even know what it means. So it's like you have no idea what atheist means, and you barely know what's going on in your own religion. Because if you did know, you would have a totally different outlook on it.
Religion on the side. even when it comes, I don't even call that religion or Christianity because all these people do not, they're not Christian. Like they're not Christian in the traditional sense or
Yeah.
in any sense.
Yeah,
It's very cherry picked. Like they choose their own rules and then I am Christian, my version of Christianity. A lot of the time people do not, you don't even live by your own standards of Christianity.
Agreed.
Uh, you know, I was talking to a young lady recently and she hit me with that on leaving the yoke thing. She was like, 21 questions. I was like, all right, cool. She brought up the religion thing. I was like, yeah, I'm atheist. And then it was just like radio silence after that. I was like, the next day I was like, "Oh, did that take you off?" And she's like, "Yeah, I was in a past. My most recent, boyfriend was, atheist, and I couldn't listen to religious music or I couldn't go to church how I wanted to. My spirit was thrown off." So I don't know. My first, I didn't respond right away because if I respond right away, I was gonna rip her apart. But
Yeah.
I really sat back and I thought about it because I was in the 5 o'clock traffic and I really thought about it. I was like, what I really, I leave. Like I said before, I'm 30, and I've watched so many people who are these. Now, let me say what she said first. She was like, I want essentially to bring my next child because this ain't her first child.
Yeah.
She already had a child from a previous
I
situation.
don't wear a lot, but
Yeah, whatever. So we ain't get into
yeah.
all that. But she was like, I want my next child to be, you know, to be basically introduced into Christianity, and then when she gets old enough, that child will be able to have her decision moving forward. I want to be in this spiritual household where, my we can go and get our child christened, and we could attend baptisms, and
All right.
when my spirit is low, I can be reignited by your high spirit and stuff like that. I was like, babe, I mean, how often does that? I'm sure it happens, and people who are happy from doing so, then that's cool. But how? This is very fairy tale, babe, because
Yeah.
there's so many. I have family, and I don't want to use my small knowledge base of people who I know as a wide cast or wide
Yeah.
net of what happens in the
Yeah.
world.
This is not everybody is like this, so obviously, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, being in this Christian country that we are, I observe numerous examples around us of
Hmm.
people who claim to be these things. I'm spiritual, I be in church, I do this and I do that. I'm very, interwoven with God, but
Yeah.
at the same time, like you are a demon outside of all that.
Sweetheart.
You're sweethearting, you're lying, you're stealing from your
Yeah,
job.
right.
You don't give to the needy. You don't have to, but at the same time, you don't give to the needy. You're not very Christ-like at
Yeah.
all.
Selfish. Mhm.
So that it causes me to think about all this. It's like, babe, hold on, man. So now you already went through this tough time in your life. Maybe, I don't know.
Mhm.
But you already, like I said, she had a child from a previous situation. So
Yeah.
that happened. Your child is one. So that happened and you all split very quickly after that. So obviously, I don't
Wow.
know if your values reset after you got pregnant or something, but I mean,
See,
uh,
like based on Christianity, like as the mind that ain't supposed to matter, dog.
what do you mean?
Not to make a joke of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like yeah, like yes, it does reset, and you're
yeah.
supposed to accept that. You're
Ah,
supposed to accept that as she is, and you're supposed to build because you are supposed to be her rock.
ah,
Hmm.
okay.
So you gotta be what she wants. She don't have to be what you want. You see
Mm,
what I'm saying?
okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, at least like don't don't hit me with the unevenly yoke
Hmm.
when your yoke ain't even. You see what I'm saying? Like you don't even follow your own values, so
Ain't even off you.
you expect me to arrive on floor 50 at this dead high standard when in reality I'm stepping down to you. And I'm not saying I'm this super great guy,
Yeah.
but we have to look at where we're at, man. Let's pull it back a little bit and let's lay the cards on the
The table.
table.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Like, why should I? Why should I do all that?
That is a good question. Like, it's like You have to be Superman. And if they feel like you are not that, if you don't fit that criteria, it's just not gonna work. And it is unfortunate that that's the thing after they already done, had a kid or been through something that's really traumatic. Because unfortunately, what happens is they project what happened to them from the old guy
Yeah.
onto you.
Yeah.
So they're like, I went through this, so I'm going to do the extreme.
Yeah.
And I know that it was a meme, I sent the other day, but it was like, I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was like, there's a time of the year or like every once a year. Oh no, the final stage of a thought is religion.
Yeah.
It's finding religion. And I
Yeah.
found that so funny based on, unfortunately, how we grew up and what we saw.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, and even what our family members or friends and stuff told us about their people, it's like, yeah, she used to be fast and this not, and you can't believe it because this woman or man, whatever, is so religious. Like from you were born, all you know is this person in church, so you can't even fathom that they were some sort of demon in the past. So that's another thing to think about. But yeah, it is unfortunate that they try to fully yoke themselves afterwards with
Ah,
not even fully understanding
yeah.
what it is to be yoked in the
Yeah.
first place.
Yeah.
And they want to rush it too. They'd be fresh off the baby.
Right? You ain't even take no
Take
time
no
to
time.
balance yourself. Like,
Balance yourself. Actually walk your path with God, whatever religion it be. Get yourself established. Be okay. Learn to love yourself and your child. That way you can, even if the man isn't religious or not, you will have a better discernment with dealing with them because you love yourself and no man can come and necessarily manipulate you, financially abuse you, any type of thing like that. No, that's how I feel.
no, I agree. That's correct. A lot of people don't love themselves.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't love themselves, so they try to find that love in other people. And unfortunately, that just leaves them open to whatever sort of abuse that other people would have for them,
I'm
which
glad you,
sucks.
I'm glad you brought up the point. That
Mhm.
kind of shifts into something we were talking about as well. How people use religion to actually get women. The fake Christian men.
Oh yeah,
The fake Christian man. Oh man.
yeah, they suck.
I don't think that's talked about enough.
Uh, I mean,
You know, really,
it's
you know.
because of how I want to say because of how well like Christianity has been just rooted into our culture and how regular life is for us.
Mhm.
Like if you like fake Christian, I mean, yeah, we know some brothers like that. Um, we often call them out for it. Uh, it's a sick. I okay. What I've been trying to say this whole time is essentially the whole thing is I don't want to say fake, man.
Yeah.
And that's what I
Faux.
yeah,
Call them faux.
yeah, it's faux because sh- I don't know, man. I
I,
mean,
I guess I could kind of expound.
yeah,
I guess I kind of look at it like, all right, they realize that they don't 100% believe because for them to 100% believe, they would not be living the way that they're living.
right.
They would settle for a Christian woman that actually loves them, that is actually equally yoked in the faith as they are. But no, what we see over here is that the men tend to go. They even start when we was younger, when they used to be going to Bible study and stuff. I used to always wonder when we was in high school, oh yeah, why y'all going to Bible study? Y'all was the worst type of dudes. Y'all be playing the worst type of games, watching the worst type of movies. Uh, but they always be like, yeah, babe, Bible study, babe. And then I say, the gal them at Bible study, babe. So
Predators.
the predators, babe.
Yeah,
And they've been using that their whole life. So when they grow up, like, oh yeah, man, it's Christian, it's easy. That's why I see a lot of them got married right out of high school and stuff. They don't even know what's going on.
that's true.
And they use that. So then, like, when they falter and whatnot, it's not seen like as a bad thing because they have the Christian thing to hold them, so they straight. And that's they take advantage of it. So I'd say that they take advantage of it. So even if they do believe, they take advantage of it.
Yeah,
And no, I'm not gonna say everybody. Once again, we ain't casting a wide net.
yeah,
Lead us in the yard. talking.
Yeah. You.
But like, there's a big majority of them that actually do that. Take advantage of their position. They're women, youth leaders. Y'all are sickos. I've dated and had been friends with women that have been flipping that tell some stories. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stories. So, and that always kind of unfortunately made me feel some type of way because it's like y'all ain't even y'all like weaponizing the religion in the worst ways.
Well, it's just from all the slackness, man. It's just we're so slack over there. Like you're married, you go to church, you do someone else in the church. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah,
And then when you start getting pressed, it's like, may God got me.
right.
You know,
Repent.
the Lord, God knows what I do, all the good that I do. So
Mm-hmm.
that's be okay. But it's like,
That's blatantly
no.
God.
It's like, no.
Mhm.
We are here. We are facing each other. We are here existing in this world. We know that for a fact.
Mhm.
So we need to take more responsibility amongst ourselves.
As people and stuff be and I think that that's kind of like narrow minded when you like cut off a whole set of people. Granted, everybody has their own choice. I mean, their choices, their free will. Do whatever you want.
Mhm.
But like you decide, like this could be your person, the best person for you in life to survive, and you're like, no, because they don't check this particular box.
And that, you could do that, I mean, people's individual choices are fine, but don't hit me with the
Mhm.
the nonsense afterwards. Yeah, you know, I- the check boxes, you have to be a church man.
Yeah,
Nothing else matters.
nothing else.
That's the most important box.
Dog.
If you were in church, that means yes. If you's a baser, too bad. You beating your kids, too bad.
That means you struggle
You's
though.
an alcoholic,
That means you're imperfect, but ain't nobody perfect.
and nobody's perfect, babe.
Mhm.
You see how it's a sick vibe,
It's a
babe.
cycle. It's a sick cycle of shaming and putting down in the hopes of being up. And I didn't even mean to be like a philosopher that way, but that's just what it is. Be like, wait, you are nothing. You're not worthy. But aim up here because this is where you gotta go and this is where you're going if you do these things. But just remember, you ain't shit.
Yeah.
Let's get that nice. It's be a bit confusing. So I definitely it now back in the day. Once again, like you said, it used to make me angry,
Yeah.
like navigating it. But now I'm just so curious to see like how they think. You know, like how does that work? How do you function within that? Sorry, how do you function within that on the daily? How do you live life? How do you move?
Through God.
And, boy, boy,
Yeah.
yeah. And I feel like that kind of segues us into something else we was talking about.
What's up?
Uh, so I got a question that I asked you earlier. As somebody who makes music, I make music for the fun of it. Definitely, it's on platforms. I'm not trying to be a rap star. I have realistic goals in life. I have a lot of things I got going on. I like making music. I'll continue to put out music. Um, how do you feel about people saying that there could be like 30 is like the cap? Like if you make it by 30, you
Mm-hmm.
should wrap it up. How do you feel about that?
That doesn't have to be true. Oh man.
Playing from
Oh
Death
man.
to 2.
That doesn't have to be true. Because a lot of people, I'd say, in hip hop. I mean, how old was Two Chains when he kind of exploded?
Yep. Yeah,
He was 40,
they
right?
just put out that list actually. He's like, yeah, I in the 30s, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I really don't think it's too late, especially if you're very talented.
Mhm.
I no, like, no,
I agree.
and I think that goes for any profession.
Mhm.
If you're talented and passionate enough, you can make it at any age.
Yeah.
But it has to be real.
Yeah. So I'll give my perspective on it. I think like so if you want to be a rapper and you plan, yeah, that's our boy Koff.
Yeah.
Uh, if you want to be a rapper and you're trying to be a rap star, you should understand that you got to go with the times, and you have to understand that there are different pockets and different levels that you have to get into in order to achieve a certain type of, I guess, even status. So If you don't have money, you should not be trying to be a rapper.
Yeah.
If you are not extremely talented.
Okay.
But even then, you still need someone. You need a fan base, and you need someone to kind of fund that.
Yeah.
Funds are important. So money is one of the proponents inside it. If you're trying to be a rap star,
Mm.
if you're just making good music and you're good at it, you can just put it out, kind of like what I do. Um, Continue to do it. Or even if you're not good at it, keep working on it. Figure out your fan base, figure out your cliche, and do that. I think that's pretty cool. Um, but what about what if you're not good at it and you're like over 30 and you have other things that you could be doing, but you're still trying to like keep that flame going, this rap, and it's not you, it's not your persona, and people can tell, and it's not translating outwardly. What advice would you give that person?
Should probably stop doing it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean that's really because I mean
Mm-hmm.
when you hit 30, that's you could do stuff as hobbies, but
Mm-hmm.
if it's not like really benefiting you like financially, anything like that, like should you really be focused on doing it as aggressively as you were?
Like definitely funding it. I think funding your career, your rap career after 30, if you've been doing it for years and you haven't made it, I ain't saying to stop, but like you should actually figure out what else you plan to do. I feel like you should definitely have a plan A, because rapping can't be a plan A no more.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But yeah,
All right.
that's
That's
it.
it. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah.